for sure, data remains king, and here is the king in data coming already. It's Andreas Huber, the managing director of Emprium and CEO of Nexio in both jobs. So Andreas, you're in the field of data spaces, and data spaces, your idea is to make them really essential to connect travel to other industries and to connect travel with AI, to bring travel better into AI. And I think it's highly essential to explain the role of data spaces into it and what can be the value for it for our industry. Thanks for being here, Andreas Huber.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for Hartmut and for Reini for the presentation before and the discussion, because we could actually go to the next level. My first question is, who of you have heard the word or the concept of data spaces? There are some more people than a normal audience. This is interesting. Who was reading something about the European data space concept? Also some people. That is promising. Who of you is from destination management organizations or involved in management of destinations? Only a few. Dirk asked before the audience, and it was comparatively a small number of people. So today I will come with a couple of take-home messages for you. Some aspects to maybe bring into your own organizations, and think about what could be the next level of integrating different sources, different services, different approaches into each other. And data spaces itself could be a very appropriate role in this data ecosystem. The most important thing for data spaces is that you know who is on the other side, identity, that you know on the other side what is the service provided, and that the data is not stored centrally, but decentrally. These are the three cornerstones of data spaces. I will come through and will show you a couple of aspects from that. We can look further. As you know, right now with the AI boom, all the people think we have now a magic solution for everything. So if you have data, you have some magical tool. At the end, you have a value. So I took an example. The example is you have a ski rental somewhere in a touristic destination. Friday afternoon, lots of people want to come for rental. As we said, reservation, nudging, and all these topics also works for commercial companies. So you have the request that the company would like to know, okay, how many people will come on Friday, on Saturday, and Sunday? Because we need to staff our shift people. 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. So what would be the requirement of a company? They would like to be informed one day before Friday, okay, tomorrow 150% customers are expected according to our AI prediction things. So that would be the business case for this example. But as you also know, if you put shit in, you will get shit out. And that is the biggest problem of all people working with data. And if you do this now with artificial intelligence or generative AI, you get fancy output, hallucinations, as you have heard maybe before or seen also. And if you go now to the newest shit, the agentic AI, if you put in shit, you will get out shit. So the question is how to reduce the shit in data. And this is not easy because, as you said, 10 years we have this technology. Now we have a boom. Now we have a kind of everything is fancy, but it's not getting fancier. The problem is all people working with data know that there is some more effort under the surface of AI. And this means you need to work with data. You need to work with data science. And you need to think of data value creation. I think this shows that it's much more complex than to just select one of the AI services and come with a solution. This is heavy technical stuff. Companies like you will help exactly for that. As Reini said, they are the experts for AI services. But in general, you need to think of all these aspects. So if we come now to the next level, the question how to combine destination needs on the one side, on the other side, technical experts, On the other side, municipality data, open data, paid data from mobile companies. How to do that? You mentioned it before. It's the semantic question is very important. Semantic standardization. So the next level can use it. I would like to add one more aspect. This is the aspect of connecting. Connecting on a contract base, where you know the identity, the contract, and all other parameters. Then you need to semantify or semantic harmonization, and then you can go into analytics or prediction forecasting, and the last level is the presentation, how to present it. We have seen on the fair and also today and yesterday a couple of very interesting presentations, how to present things in apps. Well, this morning, this afternoon, you have seen that. So what is important? You need to start with a data connection. That is, so to say, the data space primary work. Then you need to include or integrate data semantic works, analytic works, and presentation works. So at the end, again, our small message to the ski rental owner, this is the output, the intended output. What would we like to achieve? Thursday evening, a short message on whatever way to the rental owner. But this means there need to be a larger data flow in the project. That means there's someone to understand what is needed on each single stage. Is it cleansing? Is it data gathering? Do we need to buy data from mobile providers, or can we collate it ourselves with counters, digital counters, cameras with number recognition? So I think you presented a couple of examples like that. So there are established procedures for every single step of that, and that is one example. One example I bring from the Austrian Tourism Board. It's a monitoring, visitor monitoring. It was a proof of concept last year. It was the same approach as the colleagues worked in one destination. It was about, on the right below you see some data which is presented on a web app for destination managers. So the approach was to identify the needs of touristic insights for destination management. So this is an output-oriented approach, starting from what we need at the end. If we target customers, you have seen presentations on the outdoor active. Then it's about to define the necessary data services, functions, front end, and also include touristic and non-touristic data, including sometimes buying data or transforming data, preparing data, and so on. So it's about connect, harmonize, analyze, and present. Just some slides, how it was done. The focus of that was the touristic questions regarding destination management and destination strategy. So the touristic experts collated 35 questions. Who was my customer? Where did he come from? How is summer running? So all these questions are interesting for destination managers, also for local politicians to understand. Now our municipality is full. Is it really running good? Are the hotels booked out? Are the restaurants filled evenly or not evenly? Then nudging could be interesting, or reservation as well. So all these things taken into account, focusing not on data, not focus because we have too much data. Rainy, I'm absolutely with you, but we have not enough insightful data. And this needs the whole way through these 4 different steps of connect, semantify, harmonize, and so on and so on. So another screenshot from that app. This data could be used here, could also be used in other data processes. And that is the new thing. So you don't have to say a single source, but you have a kind of data ecosystem. That is the new concept of data spaces. Data ecosystem or data service ecosystem. And the idea is to have the possibility to integrate services like presented before into this data ecosystem and extend the data flow management amongst service providers, semantic service providers, AI providers, and others. What do you think if there was a a survey amongst, more, I think, 500 companies. What do you think is important when you think about AI? And most of them said, oh, it's about updating, modernizing infrastructure and software platforms, 35%. Other 35% buy the latest gadget and use the new cool technologies. That is what they said. They only said, okay, maybe 10% of this and that. But in reality, there was also research, what in reality is the problem of a digital project or digital transformation? What would you think? Is it really 35% of updating or modernizing infrastructure? No, it's 50% of the effort in AI projects is about adapting corporate culture to cope with the change. Who of you had ever used GPT in a company or corporate surrounding, maybe knowing that you shouldn't? 80% of all employees use AI tools outside of the corporate regulations. I do it, all people do it, but this is a big topic. So it's a culture topic, it's an understanding topic, and it's about employer training. So 70% is about cultures in organizations. So if you come to an organization and think about, okay, let us think about AI, then it's important to have first a look, what is the need? We had in the beginning in the afternoon the question of ethical use of AI. Eirik was here to present. I think he was touching exactly that it's in the first step, it's a more soft approach problem than a really technical problem. So where do data spaces come into? So if you really have the need to integrate technology, then it's the integration of technology and the platforms. And I come with a brief introduction to data spaces. Just take it as an idea. You don't need to understand it technically what is behind. So on the one side you have a data provider who has data, and the other one seeks for the data. This is the most simple question. Very seldom, because raw data, what can you do with raw data? You need to do something with the data. You need to analyze it and transform it, make an insight out of it. So this normal idea of providing and using is very seldom. So what do you need? You need normally data services. In data spaces now, the concept of contracts, a contract-based transfer of data is introduced. So you know the identity of the participant, you know the policies, you have contract base and usage rights and setup of different possibilities to define who is able to use your data or do what with the service of your data. So it's a kind of foreign ministry for data connections. There are a couple of frameworks, like IDSA is the International Data Space Association. So they're working to set up these legal framework or governance framework or even technical frameworks based on connectors. There's one connector, it's called Eclipse Data Space Components. It's a industry standard connector, which is a framework and which is the idea to integrate services and assets from where. So how is it done? The data space is a logical group of organizations of data. I think it's readable on this screen. Of semantic services, of analytic services, of maybe federation services, federated metadata catalogs. You don't need to remember all these technical questions or technical terms, but the idea is that on the other side you have a customer, like the end user from Outdoor Active or the end user of this website I've shown you. And before you have lots of business services collating, collecting, analyzing, and presenting the insights. And this is the work of businesses, of professionals. I show you just one technical slide. You don't need to read it, but you can see first you start with the connecting of data, then you have a semantic services to do, then you have analytic and prediction, and at the end you have a front end, a website. So all these ideas is about separating the different functional questions on the way to a better data quality, of a usage for analytic, for prediction, and this is in the back end to be done. So, for you as a take-home message, in the future, if you are thinking about any kind of projects, think of the intended outcome. What do you want to achieve? Is there something for a customer, or is it about information for situation room, which is a very good picture, the situation room? So what do they need? And then think about the functions on these 4 different layers, because every layer has its own experts, its own needs, and need to be taken into account. I come with another example, which is, so to say, out of the working box. It's the use of a semantic tool in data spaces. This is from a German ministry. It's live. You can have a look on it. This is going into data engineering, data science. So if you are brave, go into that and have a look for that. It's a kind of landing page for German Ministry of Traffic to have an overview over data sets from different data spaces. There's, for example, open data, the Gov data. It's a huge platform for German mobility data. Then you have the mobility data space, which is a professional data space where German railways is part, German telecom is part, and so on. So here it's not open data. It's open data standards, but closed data. We have Mobilität, you have different Autobahn AG, and so on and so on. So you have different players, different data spaces, and the question is how to connect them, again, with the approach of data spaces. And I would present you one semantic tool which could be one step in this chain of creating the value. And this is what we did in the last months. It was a dataset search engine, which is a machine learning AI service, which is running in the background of this dasin.de, if you would like to have a look on that. This is creating for the semantic harmonization work chain and so-called enhanced data profile. So here we have already 50,000 data sets, data assets, analyzed according to their data engineering quality to use them for other processes. So that is a very important and crucial step, what you need to do when you want to make a data flow over the steps, because Hartmut and his team can use the data when it's appropriate and consistent. But if not, then data is difficult to use. So this is an important step just to show that we have it. And now I would like to come to the 4 take-home messages for you. It's important to do all the 4 things at the same time. That is the bad news. On the other side, for every area, you can find and allocate the tasks to specialist companies or organizations. So at the same time, you need to connect data in data spaces, from my point of view. On the other side, you need to go into this way of harmonizing data with semantic services, or at least with a targeted semantic scheme. In Austria, we have a discussion about a touristic data scheme, which is already part of the schema.org, but you need to go into that for your region, for your purpose. And maybe you are also going into an open touristic data association. That is an association which is about to start soon. So they are working on the elevation of data semantics. Analyze data and also present them in a front end. So the recommendations to take home is start a regional data ecosystem like Austrian ÖW did, or in Tyrol, the state did with datahub.tirol. You can have also a look on the website datahub.tirol. Set up the data space and connect your partners, which is comparatively easy. That is the first step. You can do this as a regional organization to bring the partners together. And define the ecosystem governance. Is it necessary to pay for data or not? So the contractual questions. The same with the data harmonization. Use tools like this EDPS tool, what I said, it's open source. You can actually, if you are capable, you can download it and can install these semantic services and run it, or you can buy it as a service. And involve yourself in initiatives like this Open Touristic Data Association, which is just right now created. Define target data schemes and contract and connect AI services, and operate services yourself or as a buy as a service. That is possible. And the most important thing, start from the end. Start from the business approach. Start from what is intended for the commercial use, like this information subscription service for the ski rental. How much is a ski rental willing to pay to get on Thursday evening the information how many people will come for the weekend? That is an open question at the moment, but I think when we start to think from that, how much is the organization, the municipality, willing to pay for a situation room? Yeah? So this is a political and economical discussion. Here we are, but I would like you to take these 4 aspects back to your organization. You don't need to do one of them, you need to do 4 of them, all of them at the same time, thinking of all of them, because with this you can integrate different approaches, and I think you can come furthest, sorry, the German false friend with his words, so you can come further as possible than without doing the 4 things alone. So, data is king, really, was the question in the beginning. My answer is yes. Very simple question. Data is king, but if you wait for the magic solution, it will not work. That is my experience from more than 10 years working in data projects. I think people can agree on that. What is, from my point of view, much more promising is the idea to segregate, distinguish these different functional levels and find integrative services who bring this together again. Thank you very much for your listening, and maybe we have some questions from you or from the audience.
Thank you, Andreas Huber. Thanks for bringing some simplicity or order into the complexity of data sharing and data storage. Like your picture of shit in, shit out. I come with another chicken and egg, and I mean this picture. When we look at the existing data spaces we have, you mentioned the mobility data spaces. There are other data spaces in other fields, but I think mobility is essential for travel. And without knowing the details, I think the quantity and also the quality of this data are not the very best in the current status. We also have the open data, tourism data, also in progress. So how to solve this chicken and egg problem? How to make them better? Just because they have to be more powerful to be connected and to be stronger.
This is the bad message for today. You need to work in all 4 aspects at the same time.
Yeah, you said so. Yes, I can remember. Yes.
The chicken and egg is only to be solved if you slightly push forward the development of each of them. It's not one, so the idea or the hope that AI can solve this chicken and egg problem is just an illusion. So that is the bad news for today. The good news is it's possible. There are good examples. In Austria, there's some good examples. Here also in the state of Brandenburg, Prussia, there are very interesting ideas to set up data ecosystems and integrate the services. So there are good examples where you can learn from, but it's effort. It's not effortless like typing in a smart prompt.
It's still work to be done. Thank you, Andreas.
Thank you very much for coming.